Hello, welcome to Introduction to Java Programming. In today's episode, we'll look at the operators. So, what are operators? These are something which interact with the operands and perform some function. So, we can see here in the red between two operands, there is an operator, that's a plus operator. 2 and 3 are operand, so it will basically add them. So, that's the function. What are the types of operators? There are multiple types: arithmetic, unary, relational, logical, assignment, ternary, shift, and bitwise operator. So let's look at the arithmetic operator. So that's the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulus or the remainder operator. So let's look at an exercise here. So let's create variable a. We know that how to create variable, and let's create another variable, that's b. So these are two variables. I want to add them, so I will say I will just print a plus b. It will print the addition. Let's run the program, and here is the result 7, correct. Okay, so let's subtract them. We'll put the subtraction operator, and we'll put the multiplication operator, and we'll also put the division operator. So let's run all of them together. Okay, so 5 plus 2 7, 5 minus 2 3, 5 into 2 5 to the 10, and it's 5 divided by 2 is 2. Why it is 2? Because a is integer, b is integer, so that's the reason the result would be an integer, because that's how the system will work, because an integer does not contain the fraction part, so that's why. So let me show you an example here. If I can move it, yeah, in the screen. So if we want to store this 12.3 into an integer, so here will come 12, and the 0.3 part will be discarded. It won't be saved in this. And if we try to save this number in a float, so 12 will come here, and the fractional part will come here. So because it contains two buckets, so we can store the integer part and the fractional part in this variable, but integer cannot store the fractional part. Okay, so that's the reason that the because the both operands were integer, so the result was an integer. In order to fix this, so it's better to use the other type, which is float. So using this float, we can get the required results. So yeah, so it's 2.5. So as we can see here, why a plus b is 7.0, because these both were the floating number, and the floating number has one portion which was the fractional part. Let's say if we have to save some value 12 in the floating part, so it will by default put 12 here, and if there is no fractional part, it will automatically put 0 here. So if we print the floating number, it will print 12.0. That's what happened in our case. Okay, so we got it. So another way would be just get them back, and we will typecast the result to floating number. So we are saying, okay, both operands are, this is integer, b is integer, but typecast the result as a floating number so that there is no problem. So if we run it again, so this time it's 7 3 10, and this is 2.5. Okay, now we need instead of this division, we want the remainder. Remainder is what is left, which was not able to fully divide it. Let's run the program, and this is 1. So if it goes with 2 and 5 value, the remainder will be 1. How? Let me explain this. So let me bring it here again. So if we look at this, 2 into 2 is 4, So 1 is left. Now 1 can't be divided by 2. So this is the remainder and we want this value. Another way is this is the modulus or the remainder operator, and this is here the division. So it tried 2 to the 4 and there comes 1. Then it puts a dot to borrow the 0, and then 2 5 the 10, and here it is completely divided. So that's why this result was in the floating number, and this result here we wanted this result, actually this one. So that's why the result is 1 here in this case. Okay, so let's print here some message like this. So addition, so we'll say add, we'll say here sub. Okay, and yeah, and what's the problem here? I don't see a problem. Okay, so it's now confusion for this cannot be applied to Java lang string, because it will, just the smart IDE, it knows that it will turn, when this plus interact with this sub, it will turn a to a string, as we seen in the previous episode where there was a zombie effect. So for that we have to apply this one. So it already knows that this minus cannot come with a string, but a plus can come with the string, because at that point it will be behaving as a joint operator or concatenation operator. So let's do here the mul here. Okay, and here we will do div here. Let's add that, and then here we will do the remainder or mod. Okay, so that's how these are. Let's run it and see what is the output. So add is 52. Why? This should be 5 and 2, because we know that this will start from right to left, and it will first turn the a to a to a string. Actually it will turn 5 to string, and then again a string interact with a number, it will turn it into a string as well, because of this plus operator, because it could be an arithmetic operator, it can be as a concatenation operator. But in case of subtract, as it gives us the error like we cannot subtract, because it knew that this would become string, and we cannot use minus operator with the string, so it forces us to put these operators. And then come the multiplication operator, which is result 10. Why didn't it work like this? Because we know that the normal preference in mathematics calculation is from left to right, but the multiplication operator has precedence over plus operator, so it will always be executed first. Similar is the case with here, it will always execute it first, the division operator, and similarly the remainder operator. In all these cases this operator has first precedence, otherwise it will start from left to right. So that is the case. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so let's look at the next thing, so which is unary operator, that is a plus plus and minus minus. The arithmetic operator was basically a binary operator, because it needed two operands, so that's why it's by mean 2, so it needed two operators. Unary operator mean it only need one operand, so this is counter. Okay, so let's look at the example here. This was one operand, this was second operand, so that's why binary operator. This is also binary operator, 1 and 2 and all these cases. So let's say we have integer counter is equal to 1, so we say counter plus plus. Now we are not using anything else, so we are just incrementing the value. So if we do this, if we print the value of the counter, it will print what? 2. It should print 2. Okay, yeah, it's 2, and simple, it's not a rocket science. And if we increment it again and we print the result here, it will be again. So it starts with 1, then it becomes 2, then it becomes 3. Let's run the program. Okay, so it's incrementing the one variable. What if we want to decrement the variable? So we can use here this minus minus. This is one way of increment and decrement. Okay, now here it was 3, it will decrement to 2 again. Let's run the program. Yep, so that's the unary operator. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. I guess you got the idea. I would request you to like it, share it with your friends, and please subscribe to the channel, as well as start practicing building something. And if you have any question, any problem, just write in the comment box below, or what is the problem, and we will help you to overcome those problems. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.